All right, welcome to Zeta Confidential, the podcast. I'm here with some extremely... Guys, I don't even have to say anything because you've just heard the wild animal that...
Oh my God.
That is Deb. But yes, as I was saying, welcome to Zeta Confidential, the podcast. I have the most special guest that you will ever get to witness in your entire life. I have had the liberty of getting to be with these women and know them in person. And I don't want to start crying, but they are that special to me. And I get to just have a chit chat with them and all of you get to watch it. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Deb.
Hi! I don't even know where the camera is.
Courtney.
Yeah, where are we? Oh, hi.
Look wherever you want.
Okay.
Sydney.
Hey, y'all. She's back.
Maddie.
Hi.
And Serenity.
What's up, baby?
Our starting 5 plus 1.
Starting 6, baby. It's starting 6.
It's
Talk about
starting
it.
6.
Say what?
It's starting 6 plus the
adopted her.
fam.
Yeah, they only let us feel special for like 5 hours, and then they were like,
And then they were like, actually,
And they were like, they said psych.
yeah.
so sorry about that.
It's okay. We're happy to have you.
I was excited to be the only blonde. It's rare.
No, Deb, the first thing she said was, oh my God, she looks like me.
No,
She did.
she said her extensions are
She goes,
better
"Sorry,
than
yeah."
They were.
And they were.
Until they
Yeah.
turned blue.
Yeah. And then remember they were blue.
There we are.
I was so for that.
For a very long
we
time.
Switch my wig out.
Yeah, Maddie was like, I spent a lot of money on this. And
I don't even want to hear it. The amount of hate that I got, I think, for my extension showing, and then the producers checking my extensions.
Oh,
like,
am I a producer? Because I was
got
staying on
that.
top of everybody's hair. I was like,
Remember,
I'm
we
fixing
were
it.
in a hotel for 4 weeks before.
Yeah.
You're only
Yeah.
supposed to have extensions for 6 weeks. So we had extensions hanging from our head.
Wait, not your mom mailing you extensions.
Yeah, my mom wanted me.
That shit
Yeah.
had me weak. I loved it.
yeah, it's like by the time you got on, like I had my toes done, and then they're like, oh, it's all right, you'll be fine, because they just try and make you feel okay.
It's not. It's the
And
press
it's not
ons.
okay.
It's the press ons for
no,
me.
I went
Press-ons
and
for me.
fully thought my phone was getting taken that day that I went.
Yeah.
Me too.
So I
And-
texted everyone when I was getting on the plane, my parents, and I was like, sorry, you won't be hearing from me. I just figured I love you so much.
Not all of our like pre-stories finally coming out. Like, oh, let me tell you what happened.
I was drunk
Yeah.
every single interview.
No,
I ordered.
Deb, were you?
Of mine.
No.
I was.
were you?
And then I went to work after one of
Did
them.
you feel like you had to be? Or was it just like a...
I think that because I was really drunk, they literally loved me.
Is that what you did? You
One
cried,
of them-
You cried wine.
No, one of them was at 8 a.m. though, I'll never forget. And then I had to go to work after. So I Uber to work. And I get to work, and I stopped at a gas station before getting there to buy a vape because I was so drunk. And I was like, I need a vape. It's like 9:30 at this point, and I'm hitting the vape like the whole time. And I get to work, and I start yakking in the bathroom. And I go up to my boss, and I'm like, yo, I gotta leave. I don't fucking feel... I was like, my stomach hurts. I have to go home. I was like, I can't do this. I have to leave right now. And he was
money.
like, I know. He was like, okay.
I mean, I don't know, something worked because you made it on the show, baby!
It's something.
Also-
it's something.
And stuck there.
We need to
something.
explain that too.
Oh my gosh.
What were you going to say? What were you going to say, Courtney? Also what?
You're like, you can't forget the 4 weeks. Girl, there's no way I'm forgetting that shit.
No, literally.
I listened through the walls to all your conversations. I knew you had just moved to LA, that you had
I'm screaming.
I think I heard you too, actually.
You said you heard me, innit? Like, how many
I
doors
heard
down were
Sid,
you?
and then I heard her
heard me?
name will go unnamed, but I heard a homegirl.
Oh, we're already getting messy.
You know how I get. We start early.
She would jump rope right at nap time, 4
This
p.m.
It was her jump roping.
I would literally drink like 2 Red Bulls before I had to do whatever.
I can tell.
And then I was literally like yeeted in the room, just like
I was like, this bitch is going. Should I go work out and not me going to the balcony like
literally. Isaiah, when he watches TV, y'all, if he's into it, he watches it like this. No, I'm not kidding. It's like,
But you know what? That's how he was in the, like, he does that,
Yeah.
like with his glasses. Remember, like
Oh my gosh, the glasses.
you'd be chatting and Isaiah would just be like,
No, and when I talk to him about
no.
stuff that he's like
twist.
really listening to, he also goes. And he said
Like
his
a
dad
puppy.
does it. Yeah, he's literally just like.
it's just
It's a family
natural.
trait. I love that.
I know, it's actually
So when you have a son, your son's gonna come out the womb like,
I'm like, does your neck not hurt? No, he's literally like.
are you curious?
It's so cute.
Oh my god,
permanently
I love
snapped.
that. We love hearing about that. I wanted to ask you guys because I want to just jump right in and just get to the meat and the juice. Yes. And the tea. But before we go there, I just want to ask everyone, like, anyone jump in whenever you want, but how do any of you feel about the edit that you got on Love Island? I'm going to start with you, Deb.
I was actually very pleased with my edit.
Yeah.
I think it really portrayed what?
Said lucky.
I think it portrayed me well, and I was pleasantly surprised because obviously I'm not a very sexual person, and so I was scared that like maybe actually it wouldn't have been possible for me to even come off that way.
You thought they had some editing tricks.
Long story short, I liked mine. Like I feel like they highlighted my
Personality.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved
That
it
makes
so
me
much.
happy.
Yeah. How about you, Sid, since you had something to say about...
So I have not watched the show back. Like
Fair
I
enough.
have seen lots of moments. I've seen like snippets, but I have not gone through and been like episode 2, like start. You know, I haven't done that. I don't know if I ever will, but. What I saw was a good reaction from the audience to myself. So I'm gonna, ignorance is
Stay
bliss
positive.
and stay positive.
Sitting it.
But I just remember watching at the reunion what I saw, and I remember before the reunion I was gonna have a panic attack, and I was
What
like,
was it, though? What was it? Was it, like, your own personal, like, oh, I don't like my looks? Or was it, like, I don't like that was what was shown? Like, what was it?
it was that, and then it was the whole Casa.
Oh my
It
god,
was
yeah.
horrible.
I saw you tearing up and I almost lost it.
It was horrible. It was the
lost
whole,
it.
so like I cried so much on the show. My mom was calling talent producers, being like, "My daughter is crying." Like she was not okay either. So,
Yeah.
and I think I just went into it being like, I was just so like, I don't feel like I'm on TV. So when I saw,
As you should.
yeah,
It was
so
cool.
But I
literally,
have to say, though, Sydney, that is what has made you so relatable. I don't care, which is going to be my next question about the hate that any of you or us have received. But I have to say that is what made you so relatable.
Thank
That is
you.
what has made so many people love you. Because I think a lot of us were so self-conscious about our looks or how it was being edited. But at the end of the day, like, realness is really what resonates with the public. And people resonated with you because you were just through and through just yourself.
I have two moods. I either do not give a about anything, like
we
what I
know.
look like,
We know.
what I am eating. It's
Libra
like,
queen.
It's like
we
good
know.
and bad though. It's good and bad.
Yeah.
Or I care so
Too
much that I'm like
hurts.
a scared like squirrel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You're a Libra.
there's no in between.
It's that balance.
But
But you're like, I'm not meeting in the middle. I'm one or the other.
We did
Yeah.
see a lot of you. Like there was moments where you were in your own head, and I loved it because I was your makeup roommate, and I remember
Only for a little bit.
trauma. I mean, it was a little and a half.
Girl trauma. There's
But
no
the trauma, I went
trauma.
through that, and then like also seeing the side of like how you really do have the biggest heart.
Yeah.
And when anyone was down, you would be the most honest version of yourself. And so I definitely
Yeah.
agree with that.
She didn't have time for it, but when she
Yeah.
did have time for it, you were like, I didn't know you knew that about me.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I didn't know you noticed that.
Yeah,
Yeah, she always pays
Especially
attention.
to the little details.
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
and I just feel like I had an older brother, or I do have an older brother, and like growing up, like we've gotten very close, and like when you have an older brother, I just feel like in my family too, like we're just like very like sarcastic, like laid back people. So that's probably where I don't know. My mind was literally. There are so many things I even wish I knew going into the villa that I wish I like.
Like what?
Just like probably thinking through, like, I feel like obviously it worked out for the best. And like, I don't know, I literally have manifested so much like on accident. Like, it's so weird. My friends always talk about it, but just I was so loyal from day one and it worked out for the best, thank God. But you always have to think about like, what if you did like, you know,
This or that.
yeah. And then that.
Shout out to Sophie.
Yeah, no, literally, me too. I would literally be dead if it wasn't for her. Like, she's literally my mother.
Yeah.
I wish I thought, like, obviously, it's not that I wish I did this differently, but there were issues that Isaiah and I had after the villa that occurred because I was so in the moment. I didn't think about a lot of stuff.
I completely understand.
Yeah, and we did come out stronger from it.
So there were things that you didn't really think were a thing then.
Like the distance.
Yeah.
For one of them, like, I literally was in La La Land. I think obviously I was like falling in love, so I was like,
Who cares?
whatever. But even when I was traveling back yesterday, like, that shit took a long time. And I texted him because he always comes to see me. So I went to go see him.
I know, I loved it.
No, it was so fun.
I think you did.
each
I think you did. I think you really did well. I think
Thank
you really
you.
did well. But I'm gonna cross over to Maddie really quick. How do you feel about the edit that you got?
For the most part, I liked it because, you know, coming from a really small town and I have like younger siblings in high school, I wanted to be like a role model. I didn't want to be like very sexual. Like, I'm not an affectionate person like Deb.
Yeah.
So for overall, like, I did like my edit. However, I got the boring, no personality edit. So I do wish they would have like shown my personality more or like shown some of my conversations more, because so many people were so confused like when I left the villa for Andy, because they didn't get to see like I watched back and it would just be like 3 minutes of me and Andy talking, and then it would just be me saying, yeah, I like you, and that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
And they never showed anything of like you and me talking about it. And also, like, not trying to take your time away from you, but I interpreted your edit like very classy.
Yes, and I liked that, but like,
There was just parts of you that weren't shown,
Yeah.
and we know that because
Yeah.
Maddie is a joker.
Yes, she is.
She's
fucking is.
She's funny. Maddie is funny, and also you have to know that because she's best mates with this one.
Let's talk about it.
So it's like you can't think that she's boring and she's best mates.
No way.
The math is not mathing.
Math is not math.
Yeah, so naturally, obviously, they've only got 45 minutes to an hour of a show, and we're in there for 24 hours. Like, yeah, we're sleeping, but honestly, we didn't get that much sleep. So, let's say, like, damn near 16 hours, you're missing out. You're missing out. So, obviously, they can't show everything, but I think all of us can agree that Maddie is.
I remember her talking about when the reunion happened, and you were like, "I guess I'm just too boring."
oh yeah, like what was even the point of me being at the reunion? Because I didn't even get.
At least you weren't Shawnee, bro.
She
told me herself.
Told me
herself. She goes, bro,
know
they flew me, or I don't know. Yeah,
No,
I flew out here, and I sat in the back the whole time, and I didn't get
She was
called up once.
mid-reunion.
And she had to
was
sit
like,
there because
"Why
we
am I
filmed
here?"
the whole
So
night.
sad.
I know.
Let's actually, before I hop on right to you, I think, Maddie, I think that's great because a lot of questions that I got were why were Maddie and Andy not shown at the reunion? Because when we were all at the reunion, they were a major.
I forgot about that.
They did it for like.
They did an extra. It was like we had our own little segment.
Which is so shocking because I felt like you were like a major story.
It was a big storyline because I was the first to volunteer and leave.
Yeah.
And
Like 9.
Everyone, every day I'm leaving. I'm fucking leaving.
Sid, I'm screaming.
Oh my god, I'm leaving, bro. Then you go into the room and you come out. Actually, I'm okay.
Sydney, you said
they would be like, just take a nap, and I would take a nap.
Yeah.
And I'm fine now.
Yeah.
That solved everything.
Yeah. So, Maddie, we don't know why they didn't choose. Just by the way, I know that that's a question that a lot of the fans have asked. We don't know why they didn't choose to show Maddie
I
and
kind
Andy.
of think I know.
Why? I would love to hear that.
I do think like me and Andy together were very vanilla, very, very just like there wasn't really a story because like they wanted so badly to know if me and Andy were like officially dating, and obviously Andy didn't want that. So
Oh, like when y'all were speaking?
yeah, like before the reunion, they
asked, and
asked
he
us questions,
he didn't confirm.
and he was like, "No, we're not dating."
Are you
yet."
joking?
He was like, we're not officially boyfriend and girlfriend.
Can I get
And
some
so
tea?
then they asked.
What?
Now, I did not know that.
When I
Me
went to
too.
New York-
I didn't-
when went
I
to New
thought
York-
you lot came in as like we're together.
We were together, but we didn't have a label.
tape.
So then they asked us that on stage, and they were like, we said no. We're just testing things out, and I feel like it wasn't good enough to air because we weren't dating.
Who headlined the "We're testing things out"?
Oh, Andy.
Yeah, for sure. I
But
Can I tell
but
you
I mean,
something?
What? Spill it, bro.
So, I went to,
We're
to New York
saying this for like 5
with
minutes.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
for
I'm
letting other
sorry.
people
She's been
speak.
being
I
respectful, Sid.
apologize.
I'm sorry.
I'll be better.
This is how we move, guys. I want you guys to see it. Oh,
This is how sisters fight.
go on.
I went to New York, and he's gonna hate me. And my mom had a conversation with him, and he was asking her like how he should move forward with you, and he was like, I don't know if I'm into it, blah blah blah. My mom was like, just be honest.
Wait, what? This was
It's
before the
because-
reunion?
this would have been the night that I left the villa
Yes.
for him.
But I wasn't there for that
wow.
conversation.
The night that I left the villa for him
He said that?
was whenever they were
we were in New York.
New York filming.
And he
the
said
Andy
that?
Cohen
And
show.
but he didn't say
Wow.
it to me. He like
That's
I be
because he
plotting,
was
so-
using me for PR.
and
I agree.
Yeah.
Blue.
And his second girlfriend. Yeah.
Blue say my
And
mom
it's
gave
very-
I
him
don't
great
know nothing
advice.
about
I will
nothing,
put,
but
I'm
I
just putting it on the
know.
record. My mom gave me great advice. But
That's what I
I was
know.
friends with his mom, and his
I
mom-
love his mom.
His mom straight up called him out too. She was like, "I don't think you were strong enough for
So
Serenity."
with
I'm glad about it.
that being said,
Yes.
it's obviously clear to say for him to be able to say something like that and then come on the reunion with her,
I mind my own business. you
and
know?
then
And no, he literally flew out to OKC like 4 days after I got home from the villa. Yeah, he
Yeah, I
flew to
remember.
OKC before we even went to the reunion.
I will say,
no.
No,
And I'm like,
when I got
so
out,
now I'm
I
like,
felt
oh,
that.
did you just book that flight and count it as a tax write-off?
no,
So,
I
I
mean,
for PR.
that's so
Which actually
gross.
shook Maddie. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he flew
and,
to
and the only
OKC.
reason, and the only reason I'm sharing that is just to confirm what your feelings are, and I'm sure he's
He's
gonna be
so
upset about
irrelevant
it,
to
but
me
it's
now.
okay. But I just want to confirm
Dude,
that,
yeah.
like,
This wasn't valid back then.
I wasn't there for that conversation, but I was relayed that conversation, and even I hung out with his mom personally. He hung out with my mom, and my mom relayed it back to me. I'm at my own business, but I didn't believe. Not believe what my mom said. I was just like, Mom, maybe you're just being funny boots,
No, so
But then
that's
after,
moms know.
like, it made more sense
Yeah.
to me,
Moms
and that's when it
always
hurt
know.
me not saying it out to you. But I just really didn't. I wasn't there. Like, he was drinking that night. I was getting
gives
him.
That should be more honest.
It's
then.
interesting.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was honest
That's
because
more
he was
honest.
drunk, and so I was like, okay, like I can't.
That's
not
very.
deny that.
That is.
I'm not naive.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hop on over to Serenity.
Yes. Hello.
I want to stick with you.
What do you mean?
I'm going to stick with you because I don't even want to come around because
Wow,
This question-
You know I'm messy boots. Let me get close up.
I put out a question box on my Instagram
I'm gonna drink some wine.
and
Chug girl.
the amount of questions, one single question from multiple people that I got for Serenity Springs.
Thank you.
It was a
Sounds so
lot,
cute.
but
It
I'm
has a
going
ring
to
it.
start with how do you feel about your edit? And after you tell me that, we're going to dive right into the question that I know
That we know, yeah.
So how do you feel about your edit, babes?
I loved my edit.
Okay.
I feel like one of the things when I left the villa, I felt very positive. I didn't have a bad backlash. I felt like a bad bitch, to be honest.
As you are.
Let me put my crown on.
Put it on, babes.
Hello.
Adjust it.
It's shining. Wiggle, wiggle.
It was there when you walked in.
Thank you, baby.
And it was there when you left, babes.
Yeah, no, my edit, I feel like it was a great representation of my personality. I always whisper to myself. I talk to myself a lot, and they caught all of that.
Yeah.
I'm dying from our conversation. Girl, why would you say that? That's literally the perfect representation of my life. And then even when I left, I looked at the Love Island page and it said it's a little less shiny without Serenity. And so like my heart, like I could tell like, you know, I was loved on the show. And
So overall, you would say that you were happy?
it wasn't a lot of bad backlash. You know, I know y'all be trying to come for my lace front, but you know it's hot.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
There's the fan.
That's why the fan is for the lace front, so y'all can stop.
Okay, so with that being said, I want to dive right in. The number one asked question that you Love Island fans have asked
Yes.
is what happened between
Me and my Superman.
Serenity and Tyler.
Yeah.
And you know what, guys? I'm going to tell you
I've been very quiet about it.
that all of us are very close and we are going to hear the answer right along with you.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you
This
the
is
floor.
the first time I'm talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so fine, ain't he?
Oh, he's
said what?
sexy.
Oh,
Let's
God,
talk about
yeah.
it. I mean, I wear heels as a primary shoe. That's why, you know,
Yeah.
Mr. Two Z's didn't make it. But but like I said, talk about it. Tyler is an amazing individual.
Yeah.
I think I'm about to be 29 years old.
Ow, ow!
Within this week, Pisces.
Baby,
gang.
welcome to the
Pisces
party.
gang. Welcome to the party. And he's 23. So there is an age difference. We did really well at the beginning. Like when we got off the show, he says he reached out. He liked the picture and I just commented back. So reached out. But I think when it comes down to like affection, and we saw that on the show.
Early days.
I'm huge on like I want to be touched on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Would you say that's your like number one love language? Would you put it up
my
there?
number one love language is like, well, for others,
Yeah.
is communication because I think communication is key, and I do really well with my words. Y'all saw me bring a dictionary. Into
Would you say
I brought
that's
a dictionary
would
to
you,
Villa?
Would you say that's words of affirmation though? Because that's the one for communication. It's
I
not
think
really-
I only know
or your own personal
I think
one.
my love language. I only know the love languages I know how to give. I don't actually know my love languages I know how to receive,
Oh,
Interesting.
which is
That's
something
interesting.
I had to acknowledge.
Yeah.
like the things that I want, I'm not used to doing because I'm such a giver.
wow.
So I always
That's something you should tap into. She's a Pisces.
I'm a Pisces. Yeah, I
That's
cry as a
something you should
hobby.
tap into, though, Serenity. Because
no, and that
until
is.
you know
It is.
how you want to receive and how you are, it's like you can't expect someone to give it to you.
So like I'm a gift giver, I'm a words of confirmation, and I like, I communicate to learn what's best. So like you see the moments on the show where I'm asking him what's for him,
Yeah.
and he's like, I'm all about physical touch.
Oh, he did say
Funny
that.
boots, huh?
I think
funny
that's-
boots. Wait, funny Chelsea boots. No, I love a Chelsea
What?
boot.
Say their love language is physical touch. I'm like, okay, can you try a little harder? Like,
Yeah,
Do you
no.
reckon?
Yeah.
I understand.
But what if that's how they show it? Like, what if you had a lad who
Yeah,
literally
'cause
was
it's a choice.
It's
Yeah.
a thing.
is.
It's a valid.
No, but a lab though. I want to know.
I mean, I understand what they're saying. But
I
just
think-
like, especially, I'm more so on like dating apps. I'm like, okay, you just want to hook up.
Okay, that makes sense. I think that makes sense.
Well, I think it's a red flag if they're saying that, but it's not happening.
And that's what I think Serenity is about to go to because
So-
that's what we all were
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. So
He said that and he's not doing it.
mentally, Tyler and I were very connected. We
Yeah.
make very dark jokes, like I
Oh,
won't
we
share
saw
them.
it. You lot was
I
vibing.
know.
Yeah.
We make very dark jokes. We're
Yeah.
very funny boots, but it's very inappropriate stuff. You know what I mean? And so we have like our own personal connection. But when it came down to me communicating the things I need, my biggest thing that I look for in a relationship is safety. I did not feel safe.
Is it?
Yeah,
Can you elaborate on
Yeah,
that?
what do you
I don't think that if I go out in public, he would have my back to a certain extent.
What?
And the reason I say that is because like he's gonna have my back because he's a man and he wants to, he's gonna
He
hold
wants
it
to
down.
flex a bit, yeah.
But it's not because of me.
Can I ask something though? What do you mean by have your back? Like, what are you doing in public that he needs to have your back?
I'm your woman. Make it clear.
Okay, that's what you mean. Okay.
Like claiming your territory.
I would say like I want to be touched upon, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Because that's your love language.
well, that's his.
His.
So I'm trying to relate with you. You know what I mean? And I that's why I ended up saying in one of my interviews that I think that's one of the things that I actually want. I think physical touch is one of the things that I look forward to, because I usually tell people acts of service and gifts. Give me a call.
But if your soul tells you something, that's what it
But
is.
the reason I do that is because that's what I give. You know what I mean? So I think I give the language that I want. But when I'm in a relationship, I'm very aware of my partner. And I don't think he was aware of me. And so it got to a point where I was too invested in like taking care of him. I'm not a mother.
Energy and love needs to be reciprocated in order for any relationship to thrive.
Absolutely. And that's what it was. And so it got to a point where I would communicate things and it was fine. But then it was like I was getting used.
I love that.
Used for...
seems like the general consensus.
That's the thing. When I came out the villa, you would be mind blown. When I came out the villa, I had so many messages about whoever was running his Instagram, the nasty things they said about me.
What?
There's no way he would be interested in me. This is not his type.
Wait.
And I ignored all these things.
They.
Oh my God. If you're going to cry, babes, because at the end
lashes look way too good.
Period.
Oh my God.
period.
It's all about the lash. Exclamation.
I ignored a lot of those things. And
So this was like
because
fans?
I'm the type where I stand by whoever I'm by.
Yeah. To the point where I had to wear a huge clown
Talk
outfit.
about it.
I've had to pick the biggest clown outfit on.
I don't think any.
How can I forget?
Him. I just think when it came down to like, it started because I started to notice like he would do things for reactions out of me. I would get text messages that were outrageous, and then my reaction was outrageous. So it was just I've been engaged before. I've been mute before. I've been in a relationship where I've chosen to not say anything, thinking it'll solve problems, and it didn't solve anything. It just made it worse. So I just felt like I don't have to explain myself to any man or anyone at period. So when I broke things off, because when I decided to break things off, I chose to do so without explanation because I don't have to say absolute jack shit.
Because what is there to say? Are we healing things? No.
Bless you. Bless you.
Something very similar to that you've been engaged. I've learned how to stand up for myself, and you came into the villa saying that I'm going to do that, and you did that.
Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause for that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Because honestly, usually I feel like I have to make it make sense. But trying to understand, I'm not saying he's an idiot, but trying to understand idiocy, it makes you an idiot.
So I'm going to ask you, Serenity, like right now, as it stands today, do you wish it worked out? If he came back, would you?
I think with the options that I was presented with Love Island.
Baby, welcome to the party.
Shout out to Love Island.
Oh my God. Drink my wine right now.
I am happy that I was able to wear my high heels with Tyler.
I don't know if that's answering the
Bro,
question.
that's giving when the Casa Boys walked in, we're like, oh.
I just think that, and
So today, as it stands, if Tyler was to say, do you know what? I've gone and done some spiritual work. I feel like, I didn't move away that you would like or that I myself was okay with. Let's give it another shot. What is your answer?
I pray for Tyler every day, but I pray for him to find his own way.
And so that's a no.
And so that's a hell no.
That is a very good response.
Wow.
Because I'm a spiritual woman. I never wish ill will on anyone.
Yeah.
But I do care for Tyler. I care for his mental. And that's where I'm at. It's not like a physical thing. I mean, he's always going to be a fine man. I know, he's going to get whatever he wants and whatever he needs. But as a person that cares for someone, that sees someone in a place that they need to improve, I do pray for Tyler. I do. I pray for him every week. I don't want to say every day
that's
because
amazing. I'm going to ask you your last.
I feel really bad, but I really have to pee.
Okay, go do that.
Okay.
Intermission.
We're gonna let Sydney go pee. We're keeping this podcast as real as possible. That's what's happening. She's going
Would
to
you
go
like some
pee.
more wine after that conversation?
I definitely learned at the end. I said it on my exit. Self-love isn't selfish, and I'm happy with the decisions that I made.
Can we
You want me to
self-love?
say it for the people in the back?
Repeat it.
Self-love isn't selfish.
Amen.
And if it is, it's fucking necessary.
You know what? I'm not a hopeless romantic. I'm a hopeful romantic. So I definitely think my man is going to be coming in my future, and he's going to be as tall as my boobs.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
We love that for you.
We really do. Wow.
Thanks,
I'm honestly so proud of you because if I'm being totally honest, and I don't know what you lot think, but I never thought she would say if he came back a reformed person, she would say no. I did not know that.
I'm now humble with a hint of Kanye. Yeah. I'm just done doling my shine for others. To make
Amen.
them comfortable. I think that's what I do with all my partners. And that's why a lot of my partners, they feel the need my ex would say, you need to behave.
Jesus.
It's giving Miley Cyrus.
It's giving flowers.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Can I actually say something? I always talk about there's moments where you're ready to receive something. You can hear it and miss it completely, and then you can hear it 2 weeks from them or a year from them, and it completely resonates with you. And it's so funny that in this particular moment, what you just said just really
Oh my God, I can feel it in my face.
hit me. Like I actually just had a moment. You were like,
Yes.
I am not willing
Let me
to
say it
dull
for y'all
my
again.
shine.
Don't dull your shine to make
yours
others
is a whole different
comfortable.
story.
It's not
We'll
you're
get
doing a
into that one.
disservice. You're doing a disservice. Like one thing that I've always chose to like be the biggest supporter of my partner. But they've never been my biggest fan either.
you.
So now I'm just like, I will not dull my shine to make others comfortable.
And when you
if you're
do
uncomfortable,
that,
that's a you thing. That's not a me thing.
and it's so perfect because Sydney, we're actually going to come to this before Serenity came to my flat, before my apartment. Before this.
My apartment.
She's like,
My
I'm in
apartment.
America.
My apartment. So Serenity came over.
When you're the only British person in the group.
When you ain't born, it's born.
No,
But yeah.
she goes, you lot. I'm like, what is she saying?
She's like, we're not on a parking
I'm
lot.
like gonna look
not on
it
a
up on
parking
Urban
lot. That's so
Dictionary.
funny. Yeah, but
Wait, actually though, what does it mean? You lot.
you lot, like the lot of you, like
Like
All
y'all.
of you.
y'all.
Oh.
Yeah, Texas would say.
My country ass.
Me and all my TikToks, hey y'all.
Girl, I died when you're like, ew, that was the most text. I'd literally cry.
Literally my roommate was even like, ew.
I loved it.
Yeah, but before you came over, like literally Serenity and I were saying like something about you, and I'm not even going to wait. We're going to say it right now because that's the vibration of what's happening right now.
Talk
we were
about
like,
it.
one thing about Sydney, and it doesn't mean you, and it doesn't mean you and
great.
Isaiah are going to get married, you're going to have kids, maybe you will, and that will be beautiful, and we'll all be
There's
there,
no-
gang.
yeah.
But like, if, gang. But like,
Fuck yeah.
if that doesn't happen, like one thing Serenity and I were saying is that a lot of the time, and I'm going to speak for myself.
Speak
and
for
then
both
if
of us
lot
because
agree,
you have
agree.
it. Speak for both of us.
Go ahead.
You have it.
I am always the cool girlfriend, the one who understands why you're being like this or like that, the one who understands that you need time to explore your options.
Their biggest fan.
I'm your biggest fan. I get it. Those other women, they don't get it.
They don't.
But me, I
do.
get it.
Reasons I'm in love with her.
And guess what? With men,
No,
it does not work
work.
because you know what? Sydney, and I think we can all
about
agree,
it.
did not tolerate no nonsense from Isaiah. And I'm not saying he's being the perfect being. Every relationship has its issues, ups and
Definitely
downs.
wasn't.
But one thing about Sydney, she's the only person who's still in a relationship right now. Whether that survives for the next 2 months, the next 3 weeks, or the next 7 years, regardless, she's the one who's in a relationship right now.
Yes, they
still,
have.
they're still working on things.
But she's saying what she needs and
She
what she
did
wants.
not tolerate no nonsense. And I remember my partner on the island said, verbatim,
Oh, I remember that.
women like that, like, we men don't like that.
No, he had
We
a
don't-
conversation with me about
We
this. actually.
men, we don't like the women that are like that. Well, guess what? I'm the woman that wasn't like that, and we're not together. And she's the woman who was.
You know,
And
wait.
she's still in a relationship.
You know when you're in a movie and it says you wonder how we got here.
No, he had a conversation with me about this. I'll never forget this. In the
Okay,
kitchen.
so Timmy had a conversation with you.
We had a conversation, yeah.
Oh my
and
gosh, I need silence on this
we were-
because I really want to hear
we were in the
this.
kitchen, and I'll never forget. I think it was when he brought Phoebe back, or it was either when he brought Phoebe back or when he went on a date with Naja. But I think
Whatever.
it was Phoebe.
Whichever one it was.
Yeah.
He was with another woman.
Same shit. Different day, same shit. Anyway, he goes, but don't you want him, like, why are you so pressed? Like, don't you want him to go out and explore this and come back like I did with Bria or something? And I go,
Whom?
he tried to just talk, like, he tried to, obviously every person on this earth is different. Anything like how they interpret things are different, how they do things
Sydney,
are
we don't
different.
need no disclaimers. Go on.
No, go
I'm
ahead.
just like,
Move forward. I'm over these. Small
he almost
details.
like, he was trying to
Done
like,
with these benefit of the doubt.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
for these tax returns. Let's move forward.
I was
it's
just
not
like-
due till April 15th.
feeling like I was starting to even like second guess myself, but then I caught myself being like,
You're about to morph to
I
his
don't
opinion.
give a because I remember Courtney telling me like, you know what, like, bro,
Same
that.
woman.
Yeah.
If he does
Same
that,
woman.
that
To
he
do
tried to make me
in
feel like
my-
I was a psycho.
Yeah.
Like
That's
we're on
what
this
I
dating
admire
show.
so much about Sydney and
You
Courtney.
handled that
Both
Sydney
of
and
you.
Courtney are the same.
Both of you
They
are
are.
so
I've
good.
never put that
You are
together.
both so
I never
good
put
at
that
standing
together.
up for yourselves.
Oh,
And knowing what you want and
Yeah.
accepting
I look up to
nothing
her, so-
other than that.
I swear.
You know what's funny? I remember when we were at
swear.
the reunion, you were like,
Yeah.
was I too mean? I was like, baby, we don't do commercials. But she was vocal and like, but that's the thing. She was like,
But with
that in the-
Timmy, I wouldn't
she was
do
like
that.
But she was like, that.
Well, and then
Zeta, hold on. She was like that in the villa. Remember we had a conversation in the villa, and we talked about how like you are yourself fully. Like when we were like, I want to be so myself to the
That's-
core. We talked about that.
The producers told me that's why they put me on the show. too.
We talked
I was
about
my-
this
I
separately.
think that's a good role model
talked
for
about
young
that
women.
separately.
That's
It
what
is.
they told me
we
before I
loved
went to
how
the
you
villa.
were there.
Yeah.
You were yourself to the absolute core.
With him, I'm doing things that literally I would never used to do.
Wow.
Like when I'm admitting that I'm wrong and being like, oh,
Wow, that's new. That's
like,
new.
I'm proud of you. That's growing up and
telling
maturity. I'm proud of you.
and
is
telling
so
him
new.
like, if you don't like this, like, I will work on it.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? Do you, because I know you have habits. Do you ever get, and this will tie into another question that someone's actually asked, do you ever get anxious about your behaviors that Isaiah would not want to be with you anymore, and so you straighten up?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gosh, I
Yes.
love you, Sid.
Yes,
Like, you're so
100%.
honest.
We have had conversations, and there have been also conversations where my last relationship was so bad.
Yeah.
And he even told me once, he was like, I know you are not used to being loved. Like, I can see it all over your face. I'm literally gonna cry, but it's just like,
It's really real, Sid.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like I've never felt so vulnerable, but like
Yeah.
obviously in a good way, but I just like never thought I would be this bitch to like do this.
Yeah.
And here I am, like,
Yeah. So he
I'll be like,
wakes
oh,
you
I
up.
f***ed up. Like, I f***ed up.
let me put my tissue back in my purse.
He wakes you up to things where you're like, you could be self-sabotaging.
Yeah,
and
like,
he's like, I already know what you're on about.
But there are things that, like, where guys have said things to me before, and I'm like, oh, f*** you. Like, I'm not going to do that.
'Cause you don't respect them, let's be
Yeah,
honest.
but, like, when he says it, I'm just like,
I
you're
think you-
right. Like, if you see a wife in someone, like, you want her to, like, behave, you know, like, in a certain way.
You trust him. Do you know what? Because I'm going to speak from my own perspective about Isaiah. For me personally, Isaiah is very, very genuine. I know that he makes his mistakes, but what I can say about that guy is that, and I don't want to cry over your
He has
situation. I'm not
such
crying over my
a good
situation.
heart.
He is such a genuine person, and I know that with Sydney. And shout out to you, Isaiah.
Just not used to it.
One thing I did notice is that he was never wanting to hurt you, belittle you. He only wanted, even if you lot was to break up, he only wanted to leave you better than he found you. That's one thing I can say about Isaiah.
I have no.
That's one thing I can
nothing
say.
disgusting or bad to say about Isaiah. I remember he's like my little brother here, and I'm like we would say we call each other sister and brother. And I remember when we first got into the villa and we talked about it, and he was like, you know, I'm not trying to get played. I said, if you put that energy out, that's what you're gonna get. But don't send that energy out, you know. But the only reason he said that he was like that was because she's a bad bitch, and he was scared.
And he knew
And
that.
he told me that. Like
Yeah.
I remember him crying to
Me
me,
too.
saying like he was. You recall, right?
Yeah.
He was like,
I mean,
am
early days, I
scared.
think, like, day 5.
It was like
Yeah.
it was like day 3. It was crazy, and I was like, and I told you. I remember you telling me the doubts you had about him, and I remember coming to you being like, I don't feel that way.
Well, I was damaged when I went to the villa.
And I
Like,
understand, and
so
that's the thing.
bad.
I
Like,
didn't
so
know how you
bad.
were
Can
going
I
to take
just
the
say,
information
Sydney,
that I sent you.
the amount of growth I have seen
I know.
from you,
I know.
all of us, but you especially, Sydney, is
It's crazy.
Tremendous.
Like
Amazing.
I was so damaged.
Yeah.
But the
But
fact
it is
the fact that you're on here even crying shows a level of that. And I know people say, "Oh, I saw her
Crying
on-"
again.
I mean, is it wine or tears? Is it wine
But
or
you
tears?
know what? It shows how much you care and love him, and that's real.
I know.
and love herself.
But that's what I'm saying.
I think that's the biggest thing.
And that's why.
Well, and even my friends, I was saying to my friends, I was like, I never thought that I would be so like openly cuffed. Like I know that sounds weird.
No, it
I know
doesn't.
that sounds
It doesn't.
really
I wish I
weird.
could say that.
I know that sounds
Mine
really
says
weird, but I've
dry.
never done this before.
It's real.
I
That's
really
what it
wanna
is
say
then.
something. I just want to say 2 things. The wound is where the light shines through. That's first of all. So like when something like hurts you and creates like a hole, like light shines through. So like, and then it heals and it's closed, but it's like the fact that like when the wound is first like started and light shines through, that's like a new beginning.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
So you grow from the wounds, and you like it closes, and how it closes is the way that the story ends. But the shining through from the wound is the way it starts.
No, literally.
So like either let it shine, or it's a scar and it stays, and like you learn from that, or it's a scar and it reminds you of the journey that you had that it is now.
Yeah.
So,
no, for sure.
There's that.
That wasn't cuntish at all.
What?
That wasn't
No, I
content
know.
at
I've just
all.
been waiting to say it because everyone's like talking over each other, and I just like don't do that. But
It's very special.
Yeah.
That's very, very special.
I want to say this though. It's
Go
funny
on,
boots
go
how
on, babes.
there
Because I'm
are.
going to move on to Deb, right?
We
after you
will,
finish.
but I do want to say there are restrictions on who can say things and get away with it.
What do you mean by that?
Say
Please
that.
elaborate.
And I will thank you. Because
There are restrictions on things people can say.
Yeah, there are restrictions on what people.
I would agree to that, but actions. Like I
And
think
that's what I mean is
Okay,
actions.
continue.
Is that
What do
like
you mean
if
by
I
that?
were to
'Cause
say,
I'm
like,
confused.
Like you elaborating on what you were trying to say, and like if you were saying like the way you say things, saying like, oh, everyone else is speaking, and like I want to say something. There's some of us that can't say that. So like, and then like you try and explain yourself, and you're saying it. You were doing very well, but it can be taken differently from everybody. Like I heard what you were saying, and I heard what you were saying. And I do believe that like we just all have dealt with each other in different perspectives.
what was
Okay.
your perspective?
My perspective from it was I understood what everything was going on because I don't have the relationship that y'all have with her. So I can only speak of what I want.
From your, yeah.
You get what I mean? So
even
I
being a
understood-
makeup neighbor.
as her makeup neighbor, I think she is. Don't let me write a journal. I'm holding this mic so fucking
We
hard.
love it. Hold it.
But you get what I
Hold
mean?
it.
Like we all have our different views, and I am so proud of you for
Live in the
elaborating
same
because
building,
The
but we
same
got
person that I
different
had a
views.
makeup partner as, you weren't
The Wayne line.
at that
no,
time.
none of
You
that.
were still developing on how you can verbalize what you want.
No.
Wait, I was still developing on what?
On what you're verbalizing what you want. Like when she was
I do think, I'm sorry, just as the host, I do think this is a private conversation.
okay,
I think there's a lot of things that Love Island people want to know, and we're hopping into a therapy session.
What about your perception
Of what?
how you were depicted?
Wait,
I
I feel
love how I was
so
depicted.
uncomfortable right now.
What?
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to say
Why?
anything uncomfortable, to be quite honest.
Did you say you don't like me?
I never said that.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. I just didn't know what you were just saying because it seemed like pointed at me, so I was just like, okay, let's just move on. I just want to clear that up.
You didn't say that. I didn't hear you say that, but
I
you didn't
never
say that,
said
right?
that.
Just for the record.
For the record,
Okay.
I never said that.
Okay.
I'm quite confused and flabbergasted, but
Yeah, I think that's something that needs to be chatted about after the
I
show.
have
But
no idea where that came from. I never said that. I was actually having your back in that statement.
Okay,
So,
I took it wrong then. Okay, we
yeah,
can talk about
I'm
it later.
very confused
that's
and
very
I
grown
apologize.
up. I took it wrong.
I was just agreeing with like everyone has.
No,
their
I
own
got you. I
perspective.
didn't get what Sydney get, but I'm not in her body. So I don't know.
Exactly, and I apologize
We
if
can
that's how you
talk
took
about
it.
this
That's
right
not what I
after,
was
girlie.
saying at all.
No, okay, that's why I asked.
I was saying that I was respecting.
Deb, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, but the first one, how do you you've already answered how you felt about your edit. Do you feel comfortable with that answer?
Yeah,
You liked it?
I liked my edit. I think it accurately portrayed me, and I think it accurately portrayed the relationship journey that I had.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with that.
That's so
Yeah.
lovely. Okay, I'm actually going to look in my notes. I know that the question is about you and Jessie.
Yeah.
I know that, but I want to make sure that I stay on the right track. And with that being said, so the world struggled with how you felt about Jessie and what the relationship was like. And I'm going to speak from my own perspective. I remember being asked, who do you think will last the longest? And I have to tell you, I said Deb and Jessie.
I remember. I remember that.
Wait,
I remember that.
Who asked you this and where?
No, it was like it was like an interview. Like E-News. Like
after.
yeah. Not like an islander, like a true and Tibby was beside me. And do you know what? He didn't say you used to at first, but when I said it, he was like, I get that.
That makes sense. He would agree with you.
I'm going
Yeah, you right.
we'll elaborate later. I'm going to say
Since I'm here and I'm already on the. I'm
going to say because I'm going to obviously jump into questions that people have for you, but I'm going to say that the reason I felt that way was because personally, I loved the way you two had so much banter. You lot was so fun. I would look over in the corner and they would be,
Yeah.
mind you, that doesn't make a relationship, but I'm saying that I think anyone would crave that sort of kid-like energy
Kid crush.
with their partner. And I remember
The
being like,
playfulness.
these two are the ones that the public and all of us will look at like, meh. And they'll actually end up doing something. So that's where I was
Yeah.
coming from.
And you
Yeah.
know, like, is that a question?
No,
Do you want
I'm-
to answer? Like,
no, well, do you want a question to follow that, or would you have something to
I was
say
just
on your
gonna
own?
say that I genuinely thought the same thing. Like, we were so compatible in that sense. Like, we were best friends. Like,
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah.
Like, but I just think the romantic part was missing, and we probably both have things to work on. And like I've seen so much growth in myself from going on the show to the end of the show, and then from the end of the show even till now.
And we all have.
And so it's just like I just can't believe I went in the state I was at that time going into the show saying I was ready for a relationship.
I'm
Were you
laughing
not?
because it's relatable.
Like
Were you not?
I thought I was.
You thought you were, but looking back, you were absolutely
Looking back,
not.
I didn't know how to love myself, love other people, let somebody in,
And
be
that's-
vulnerable.
That's the thing
Wow.
about relationships. They
Yeah.
say if you think you're ready for it, you're not. It's gonna happen when you least expect it.
Right. And I truly think Jesse's one of the most impactful relationships I've had in my life.
Jesus.
And I've learned so much from him.
And you handled it with grace.
But that's so beautiful for you to say, Deb, because, you know, like, you are someone who uses humour to deflect. And
But
I
you're
think,
such a good person, too.
yeah, you can use
fucking
humour to
love
deflect and
you.
be Jesus, but, like, she uses humour to
Jesus was
deflect.
a funny guy.
Sorry, I don't know why I just couldn't have to say that.
He was a hoot.
He was a funny guy.
You know, you're similar to Jesus.
Jesus was a hoot.
Did you know that?
But, Deb, honestly, I think we chat a lot,
Yeah. We talk a lot.
special agent John.
Especially Mo.
I saw you growing on the island, but even just what you said has just shifted me into this whole new, like, I am so utterly proud of you. Is what you just said. I don't think even us sitting here, and that's not to take credit from our minds, but I don't even think we realise the depth of what you just said.
No,
Like,
I do.
That is so powerful that you can notice what Jesse and that relationship did for you.
I mean, he's probably one
I
of the
love you.
I love you. He is probably one of the most amazing men I've ever met in my life.
Aww.
He is so genuine. He has such a good heart. He is such a good guy. And he literally, and I think that's why in the villa I wanted it to work out so badly, is he's what I had been praying for.
So you did want it to work out so badly.
100%.
Because the question, not to cut you off, but just to move through this, is one of what the fans said was, what was going through your head when Jesse asked you to be exclusive?
When Jesse was asking me to be his girlfriend, I think I was very confused of how the question was being asked. I think I interpreted it wrong, because in my mind, I truly didn't hear him ask me, will you be my girlfriend? And so I remember I started the conversation with him saying, I love where we are now because Zeta and Timmy have been chosen to be exclusive or taken that next step, and Sydney and Isaiah are now boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't want you to feel any pressure to have to ask me that, because I know we've always moved a little slower than everyone. And I was telling him how amazing it would be if we could try outside the villa, and it'll be so special if he could ask me to be his girlfriend outside of the villa. And he was saying, yes, I would love for you to be my girlfriend one day. And I think maybe with the edit and then my own misinterpretation, I didn't really understand that that was him asking me to be his girlfriend. And so when after that happened, I remember coming to Sydney, and I think maybe you were there, Zeta. And I was talking about how constructive of a conversation we had, and I was so excited that we were on the same page and that we were like moving at the same pace. And then I remember later on, like kind of realizing like, and I saw how hurt he was, and I was like, why are you so hurt? Like,
And then we all told you,
Yeah.
he asked you to be his
and I was
his
like,
girlfriend.
wait, what? And it took just obviously like the boys and the girls talking, like everyone to figure it out. And I was like, oh my God. And so in that moment, I also and maybe it was my own wall that I had up that just was like protecting.
I think it was also him, though. He said in the bedroom, I'm so upset. Deb rejected me. And I said to him, no, she didn't. You are overthinking this.
But also,
Snap out of
Sid,
it.
we weren't there.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
And we have to leave it at that.
Yeah.
We just have to let Deb tell her perspective
yeah.
because we weren't there, and he really feels
you're right,
in his
you're
heart
right.
that he
Yeah.
asked her to
You're
be his
right.
girlfriend.
And long story short, I think maybe it was just a miscommunication. Maybe I didn't understand where he was going with the story. Maybe I was too guarded myself.
So had he said, will you be my girlfriend, in that moment, I know you can't say what you would have done then, but if you can speak now.
If he would have said, will you be my girlfriend? Will you be exclusive with me? I would have said 100% yes. Because I was ready at that point. But my intention of going into that conversation, because I initiated the conversation, was I don't want you to feel any
because
pressure.
of other people
Yeah.
and the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you...
Because I didn't care about
all
the
of that. finale,
anything.
And we see that.
me
You were almost going to leave the show if that's what it required. If you
Yeah.
weren't ready. 1,000%. So you did truly see a relationship with him. You just didn't
100%.
want it to be forced
too,
because
yeah.
of the show and because
Right.
of what
Not that
Timmy and
matters.
Isaac and
Right.
Sydney and I were on.
Because in my perspective too, I was like, okay, I know kind of how these kinds of shows work. I don't want it to seem like, oh, we're jumping into something because we have to. And so I didn't want him to feel that way. So I wanted to communicate that with him.
Like naturally.
Right.
Facts. Okay, I'm going to ask you, what do you feel, in your opinion, was the downfall of the relationship outside? Because obviously he did move to California. And what do you feel was the downfall?
Well, I do want to clarify.
Yes.
I got a lot of questions too. He did
They're
not.
like,
It wasn't for
He did
you.
not move for me.
It wasn't for you.
Yeah, we had this conversation, and he was planning on moving to California before the show. He went to school in California for a little bit, so he already had ties, and so it wasn't for me. But obviously, I know I was probably a part of it, but I just think what I realized was I just think we are too similar. Yeah. In the sense, and this is, I think, where I've really grown and where I've learned that I have to let people in if I want a successful relationship.
You need balance.
I need balance. I need somebody to bring out the emotional side of me.
Yeah.
Whereas he is going to need a girl who is the exact
He needs the same.
Exactly. And it's like, and that's, I think, what I'm most grateful for that relationship is that I
Showed you
realized
that.
that. And I have so much love for him. And
And as someone who has spoken to Jesse on the side, he has so much love for you, and I don't even want to elaborate on it to the point where it seems like, oh, Deb broke his heart, but he really,
I know. And what
he has a lot of love.
What
for you.
also was hard for me, and I know it's my fault as well, is I never knew how much love he had for me.
Oh yeah, the love is.
I know.
The love
And
is
I-
deep. Sorry, Jesse.
I
Don't
found-
be like, why'd
I-
you put me out there?
I found out from you, and it's
Oh,
just
yeah,
like
it's
I
deep.
wish
He
we
should have
had-
communicated
Yeah,
that.
No.
Yes.
I'm going to stand up for Jessie
Yes.
here.
Why shouldn't he have?
I'm going to stand up for Jessie here because I feel like women say that a lot. But when you're in a space that where Deb was, sometimes being that simpy guy can push the woman away from you.
Listen,
I just
if
have to be
Zay
honest about
acted
that.
like how Jesse did, I would have been the same way. I would have been like,
I understand.
Same way. What do you mean?
are you into me? Are you not into me? Like,
What do
is
you
this
mean
real?
though? How did Jesse act
Jesse,
to you?
I feel like was never like, come here, you're my girl. Like, come here, let me give you a, let's make out.
his energy.
Is that his
And
personality?
I think
though?
that's what was probably the ultimate
and you
lead to our
can't expect
downfall.
someone to have the same energy that you.
And
I
just-
think one
You know
thing
what?
for me, I will speak on like my relationship with Jesse because I think that was one of the things that was hard for us in our friendship. And it was very hurtful for me. I was very uncomfortable with that whole exchange with that, what's that called? Challenge. I was
I
Jesse.
think we need a second podcast. Just by the way, it's not going to cut it.
Wait, before I just know this is going to be a different conversation. I just want to say Jesse never asked me on a date outside of the pillow.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
He didn't ask
we had
me
a conversation about
He
this.
didn't ask me on one date.
I told him this.
Yeah, and
I
that's
told
like
him that.
it's those kinds of things. I come from a very traditional upbringing. I want a
Yeah.
traditional man,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
he is. But I just think there's a lot
Wasn't
of
enough.
there, and maybe like I also to his defense, I should have communicated that, but it was just like.
But sometimes you
No.
don't want to.
Exactly.
I think
don't
the
want
person
to.
who you
I
are
don't-
besotted
I
by,
don't.
you
And
want
And you know
to
what? You
naturally-
never want to communicate what you want,
gonna
but
come to
sometimes
you.
you have to. Like even with
Okay.
Isaiah and I.
It's not even communicating what you want. It's like you're the woman, he's the man. He needs to be the man in the role of the man.
Do you think that at any point in life, you don't know when that is, obviously, you're not God, that you and Jesse could work out? Speak
I
from
think-
your perspective right now.
I think we will remain friends, and I wish we talked more than we do. I don't think we will ever
Yeah.
be together romantically.
Yeah.
Just because we are too similar.
Yeah.
In the sense of I thought I wanted somebody who didn't like PDA, who was just like me, who would like but it's just
You
I
realise that's
I
not
realized
how
that I
it is
need
at all.
somebody the exact opposite of me.
You realise that you want someone who grabs your face and is like, I know you're being
Yeah.
like nervous about
Yeah.
this, but we're gonna kiss.
Yes.
And you're like,
Literally,
okay.
yes.
Okay. Are you dating
Nail
any?
me.
Are you dating anyone right now?
No.
Okay.
No.
Are you single and ready to mingle?
I mean, I'm on dating apps, but it's the same old shit. I just like the mutual satisfaction of somebody liking me, you
Yeah.
know? Like,
Yeah.
I'm more trying to figure my own shit out, and I realize I have a lot to work on.
Deb is on her way to win an Emmy.
So lovely.
Yeah, I take acting classes.
Commercial
so-
queen. She's gonna be
No,
Flo from.
and you've already secured a spot. And how many other people can say that?
She's gonna be
Yeah.
Flo from Progressive. She's gonna be making $500,000 a year doing
always wanted to
absolutely
be
nothing.
Flo.
That's you. I decree and
Deb's
I
gonna
declare
be in
that over
White
your life. I'm
Lotus.
not-
I have a lot of experience with like true love, and because I grew up really fast at a young age, when you remove your ego and you find someone that you actually want to project your pure raw soul onto, it's really scary. So I think that's what you're going through.
Yeah.
Like, besides the wound with the light coming through, like, whatever, like, when you remove your ego and it's just your soul flat and someone else's flat, like, it's a really intense experience. And I've had it before. So that's just what I wanted to say.
Well, you're gonna make me cry because I literally look up to you.
I love you so much.
Literally, no, same. Every time we speak, like, we talk for so long.
I know.
And on Instagram DM too, like, I don't know.
You're
I
literally the
really
most
do.
smart friend.
Oh, I fucking love you.
I really do look up to you, and I love you so much, and I take
Me too.
everything you say, like, to heart. Like, I really do.
Oh, I love you so much. Thank you.
You know, I love you too. So, yeah.
But that's just the thing I wanted to say to finish my thought with what you were saying with, like, your experience, because yeah, like, the wounds suck, but the light comes through there.
Yeah.
So it's like how it heals is the outcome. But then also when you remove your ego and it's your soul's, like, raw,
It's scary.
like, outside of the physical, like, okay,
Yeah.
you're both really hot. Okay, cool, whatever. Like, you're both, like, have an influence. Okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's when it's your soul experience the experience in this body.
No, yeah.
Oh my God. Like, that is a, like, more exposing experience than anyone on this earth can understand when you connect
Literally.
with someone like that.
No.
You
Literally.
pray to feel that way.
Yeah. And you pray to find someone to feel that way with, because it, like, a lot of times it's one-sided.
And I think a lot of, like, the relationships that I've had in the past, I never let my ego come down. And
Exactly.
that's why it didn't
Yeah.
escalate, you know?
So now it's happening and
It's
it's,
like
like,
breaking down
really
your
crazy.
walls.
When you said,
been breaking
I
down it.
apologize now, I was like, not her saying these things. Like, people don't say those things. And that's, like, big of you to
You've
say.
become so
Because
vulnerable.
those are hard. Those are hard. I know
it's
for me,
So
I
beautiful.
don't have,
Beautiful.
I'm very
what you
big on,
live
like,
for.
apologizing just to, like, shut shit down. And for you to, like, stand on something, I wish I had that. I wish I did. That's what we spoke about in the villa. I wish I stood on something that instead of just folding to make someone feel comfortable.
He's just also taught me so much. Like, even, like, when we're fighting, he'll always say, like, I love you. And I'm just so
Yeah.
not used to that. Like, I'll, like, unleash hate. And, like, it's so
Yeah.
bad. It's so bad.
Wipe
He's
with
like,
Gucci.
that's
Wipe
not
with
what we're
Gucci.
No, it's not. That's what he says. He's
It's
just like,
true.
what the fuck?
No,
No, I'm
and that's
the
the
same
thing.
with
I
you.
commend
Yeah,
you
and
for
I'm
that
like-
because that's something I want to learn. I want to learn to, like, stand on something instead of, like, I tell people all the time. One thing from my breaking off my engagement was the hardest fucking thing of my life. It was the strongest thing I ever did because I went mute for a year. And when I finally spoke for myself, like, that was terrifying. But when I did, I felt the best version of myself because I finally felt like I was myself. And we spoke about one thing about
That's
you,
who she
Sid.
is. They don't. Even if she doesn't notice, that's who she's being.
You have taught me power.
At
Really?
22,
Power.
Sydney.
Power.
That's
Because
what I'm trying to
because
tell you.
and that's the
At
thing,
my
and that's
grown
what I was
age,
trying,
I've learned
and
from
that's
you.
and that's what I was trying to
Yes,
explain
no,
earlier
you
when
are.
I was
I told you that on the
was
island.
speaking
No,
about
you
everyone's
are.
like perspectives of you. Like, my perspective of you was completely different. I know I complained about, like, living next to you makeup wise. I was
Yeah,
like, this bitch
as
is so
you
messy.
shouldn't,
Oh my god, she
but-
takes all my shit. Oh my god, I fucking hate it. But fine, I'll find it. But whatever.
I'm sorry, but
But-
can we move on to, like, just
Okay.
before it ends, because this guy just,
Yeah,
like,
you
Okay,
Right.
if the host would like to move on, yes, I would love to.
No,
move
no,
on.
I was, as soon as you wrapped up, I was going to wrap it up. So.
But I do want to, like, remind you the power that you brought to this season.
Oh, thank you.
It wasn't just me. It wasn't just her. It was the season
so impactful.
that you brought. You brought power
Y'all
to this
gassing me too
season.
much.
And I
wish
want to
we
thank
were,
you.
babes. I ain't got no
And I just want to thank. I just want to thank you. I want to thank you, Sydney. I do. I want to thank you because I'm 29 years old and I
Red queen.
I didn't like myself till I was
My
25.
friends always make fun of me. They're like, red queen slay, red queen. Even when I'm doing the stupidest shit. But anyway.
you,
Funny
Sydney.
boots.
Okay, guys, I want to actually wrap it up on a note for Sydney because that is the moment right now. You are power. You are extremely more iconic than you will ever understand that you are. I've told you this on the island before, and I'm telling you it now with all of the girls beside me who 1000% agree. You are one of the most I tell you this all the time, and you can agree.
Oh my gosh, I see
have
your
traveled
eyes.
around the world.
Oh yeah.
I'm 29 years old. I have
Yes.
traveled around the world, and I have never met a woman as iconic as Sydney Pate. So
Thank you.
we are coming for a part 2, but for this moment, as we wrap it up right now, we're going to wrap it up on a Sydney note. And just, I want to really, really give you that moment. And I love you.
Thank
and
you.
let's clap for Sydney.
I love you too.
What the fuck?
And that
we
is,
will
and that
love
was
you,
well said
Sydney.
by the host here.
Yeah, I'm crying.
Confidential.
And we will be back for Zeta Confidential,
Talk
the
about it.
podcast, very, very soon. Thank you.
Amen.
Love you. Bye.
It's up there.
And stuck there.